We've got to raise the bar, and we've got to continue to raise the bar. I don't think any of those young men, when they signed to come to Tennessee, they signed to say they wanted to come and be a part of a 7-6 program. They said they wanted to come and compete for championships, SEC championships, national championships. I know that's what I want. I know that's what Tennessee wants. I know that's what the expectation is. So we've got to continue to reassess everything that we're doing and make sure that we're continuing to move the needle in the right direction.
99% of the people in this world want to be great. Would you agree with that? Yeah, they're called wannabes. 1% work to be great. Drop the mic on that.
Well, first of all, what kind of mythical powers does a Sun Devil have? We got to consider that. I'm going to say the Wildcat's out. The Trojan, does he have a horse or is he on foot? Does he have a bow and arrow or just his sword? The Bruin, definitely formidable. Another bear up there at Cal. The tree, I imagine that tree's going to get chopped down, unless we're going to go with the bird and somebody might get pecked or something. I don't know. And then the duck might lose interest and just fly away and get out of there, which may be good advice under the circumstances. The husky, no chance. The beaver, we'll see how long that beaver can hold his breath. The ute, again, we're back to, is he on horseback? Does he have a bow and arrow? Did he trade for a rifle? I mean, because if that ute's got a rifle, there's some definite problems. You'd have to get one of those Harry Potter activists to read up on how you kill a Sun Devil, because there's a lot of outside stuff there. Just as far as a beast alone, a buffalo's going to be pretty hard to tangle with. I mean, a buffalo's utterly outstanding. Well, but Butch is going to have to be clear-minded and crafty. I mean, Butch will find a way. There's no question. The Cougar will find a way. Clear-minded and crafty, a combination of stay out of harm's way and attack when you get your chances or your openings. I mean, to me, it's always been naive. The songs how like me, poets at an arcade, soaking moonlit falls, unbroken past this inundated orb that we call home, and it's night and I'm alone and I'm alive. Black and white headlights pierce patrols, blazing arrows, burning me to the marrow. But fire brings peace as well as it brings fear. You're the only thing I hear, and I want that. The songs how like me, poets at an arcade, soaking moonlit falls, unbroken past this inundated orb that we call home, and it's night and I'm alone and I'm alive. The dogs howl like me, poets at an arcade, soaking moonlit smashed and broken in the sea. When we wake up each cold morning and the birds sing their warning songs.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. He's muted.
I'm Dauber.
Yours truly, the X Factor.
Do you guys want me to start you want to start the intro over? Let's start it over and we'll get it. We'll get it
I
right.
messed that up. Let's
Yeah,
run it
let's
back.
just let's run it back. Let's play through the entire intro again. Look, great words, great wise words of wisdom there from Mike Leach. A lot of people asking me this week, Boogie, you going to do anything about Mike Leach? You going to talk about Mike Leach? There's something weird, man, about monetizing somebody's death. But I thought let's just let it sit for a day and then we'll include it with tonight's live stream because he's a legend. He is a legend for so many reasons. We're going to talk about it. Then we're going to open this thing up. It's going to be a fan call-in show. We're going to talk about recruiting, the transfer portal. We're going to talk about a hot topic. Apparently, I pissed so many people off that they have to go to VolQuest and complain about it on the general's quarters. Imagine, just picture yourself. Jalin Hyatt announces he's opting out, and the first name that comes to your mind is Boogie Bentley. That's winning. I am winning in life if I live so much in your head that the first name that comes up is my name. Let's run down the chat. Let's see who's here. Gabriel's in the house. Gabriel's sad. Gabriel, it's going to be okay. Gabe wasn't feeling it tonight. He wanted the night off. I said, rest up, get ready, because next Wednesday is signing day, and it's going to be a good live stream at 7 o'clock next Wednesday. DS4570 says, can't be talking Vols without Boogie being late. I knew that was coming. James in the house. What is up? Shots by Andrew says, rest in peace. Rest. Maybe we should just start the whole show over. Can we start over? Would they get mad? Justin Sanday's in the house. What's up, Justin Sanday? Nate Pruitt is here. Guys, come on in. Smash the thumbs up. You know what to do. You come in, smash the thumbs up. We would greatly appreciate it. Crystal's in the house. What's up, Crystal? Craig J is here. Nugs is in the house. Says, I was always a big fan of Coach Leach. Man, I am struggling tonight. Genuinely sad to lose him. Kalen is in the house. Randy Wilson is here. Wayne Starnes is in the house. Let me hit these real quick, and then we'll jump into the show. Orange Sea Lion becomes a member of the channel. I see you, Gary. I see it. Gary's like, oh, it's a fan call-in show. Let me go ahead and add my membership back real quick. That's all right. Thank you, Gary. We appreciate it. Joel becomes a member of the channel. Thank you for that as well. John Hill with $20. That ain't cheap. Prayers to the Leach family. Man, next season may be interesting, but 2024 is shaping up to be spectacular. Keep snagging those big-time commits. Can't wait. Let's go, Big Orange. Thank you, John Nate, for 2. What's up? Is that a typo?
The V and the B are right beside each other.
They are. I'll just read it as it says. Nate says, what's up, Balls family? Love to all. GBO. Thank you, Nate. We appreciate it. My man. All right, let's jump into it. Let's talk about it. Dauber, what are your just when you hear Mike Leach? Like it was kind of just obviously a sad week. You hear that he's sick. All the rumors come out. What comes to your mind when you hear Mike Leach?
Just epic press conferences. The dude was a character. Gift of gab. And I knew he was a smart guy. Didn't know he didn't play college football. Played college rugby. I kind of did some reading on him, looking into him. Law degree. Man, really, really intelligent dude. And honestly, had John Curry hired Mike Leach, I wasn't gonna be against that hire. I was actually kind of for getting Mike Leach here because he's won at every stop he's been to. He's just was a genius offensive innovator, and it would have been fun. It would have been just as Josh Heupel changed Tennessee football and brought it really into this century. Playing kind of a modern offense. It would have been something unlike anything we'd seen in our lifetime.
Do you think he would have been successful here? Because when that was happening, of course, you got to realize where that coaching search was at when that happened. I mean, it was a dumpster fire at that point. And Snake, Snake that's part of the channel as well, he's a big Mike Leach fan. Like, we both love Mike Leach. And I was like, let's go, man. Like, we were on board for it. But when you ultimately sit back and look at it, I don't know that he would have worked out here, Xavier, with like having to schmooze with the big money boosters. I think he was better off somewhere, like a Mississippi State or Washington State. The trips that he, where he coached, I think he fit in a little bit more than maybe he would have in Knoxville.
Yeah, I agree. And like what Dauber said too, I was kind of doing a little research on him, beforehand. I was actually watching a 60-minute interview that he did back in like 2009 when he was at Texas Tech. One thing that I never knew is that, like, it was against the one game. I forgot who they were playing, but like it was like this kicking competition to where like there was a Texas Tech fan, Texas Tech fan in the stands, and he came down and he kicked the field goal, and then look, he got him some pads, a helmet, and he was just like, yeah, you're basically on our team now. I did not know that, and that's pretty cool. Can you just imagine, going to Neyland and just you going down there just to win some money in a field goal kicking contest, and then Josh Heupel's just like, you know what, you got a good leg on you. How about you become a kicker for us? I thought that was pretty cool. So, but Coach was he was a special character for sure. I think what I'm going to remember him as is, like I said, like that clip you have, Boogie, of him talking about dinosaurs and gas stations. That one is definitely going to live in my head for a while because I'm
receivers
like,
having no hands.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That's probably the one press conference I'm gonna be like, Coach, like, what was you talking about, bro? Like, I understand you lost to Alabama, but was it really that bad? But anyway, just RIP to Coach, man. He's a legend for sure. His coaching, like his coaching play style, is going to be all across college football. It even is leaked over into the NFL. So, and we talked about how Josh Heupel is going to kind of branch off his own coaches, because we talk about Alex Golish, so hopefully that this trend will continue on, so, but yeah, just RIP to Coach, and he will be missed for sure.
The beautiful thing about it is, like, even that one, I saw somebody in the chat said, as that clip was playing at the start of the show, that's all like that. Like, it came up at a press conference, and it was the same thing with him talking about the evolution of wide receivers and not having any hands. That's the beauty of it. One of the coolest things for me, though, was scrolling through Twitter. The day he passed away, scrolling through Twitter and seeing people come out and tell stories. And there was even one reporter that shared a text message thread that he had with Coach Leach, and he basically said, he got an interview with him, and he sat down. He thought it was going to be like 5 or 10 minutes, and Coach Leach talked to him for like 2 hours. And then he said, we had the privilege. He said, anytime you want to talk, text me, call me, whatever. And he shared the text thread, and it was like, Coach, one of these groups of animals is going to kill you or is going to protect you. The rest are going to kill you. Which one would you take? And he proceeds to break it down over this series of texts talking about, well, I don't know about the rats. The rats would eventually get you, but, I mean, you're talking about 200 rats. You're talking about disease and parasites. Like, just there's nobody like Mike Leach. He was one of a kind, man. One of the other stories I heard was him going to like events with boosters and donors and stuff like that, and just talking to people, man. He just liked people. He liked to talk to people. That's who he was.
And he even said too is that I was watching that interview too. They said that like there's times he got bored of talking about college football. Like he would just get bored with it because that's how such of a genius of a mind that he had of it, that he was just like, I'm getting pretty bored about talking about football. Let's talk about something else. And that's just beautiful, man. Just as a human being in general, that's just beautiful. That's just the fact that you just don't want to just talk about just football all the time. It's like, hey, let's talk about silly life things,
Did you see the story where he put a decoy play sheet, gave it to when he was at Oklahoma? Gave it to a player, told him drop it in the tunnel, and Texas, it was Texas, I believe.
I think it was Texas.
To go off the game script, and Oklahoma, scored a couple touchdowns or whatever off of that. And then they were like, "Forget this. This isn't real." But that was pretty neat right there.
Wasn't that the year that Heupel was the quarterback? Wasn't it? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, pretty sure. One other cool Mike Leach story, then we'll get these guys on here that are the Talkin VAWLS Elite. The link is out for you guys. Got 150 people watching on this random Wednesday night talking about Mike Leach. We'll get into some portal stuff, some opt-outs, all kinds of fun stuff. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up, but also share this thing out. Like, get it out there. Get it out there on Twitter. Let people know we're live because it is kind of a short notice stream. We would appreciate that. One last story on Coach Leach from me, and it was, I forget what coach was talking about. It was a guy that had coached with him and said they were sitting in the office. The cell phone rings. Mike picks it up. Hello, starts talking. Who is this? Where are you from? Keeps talking. Phone gets dropped. The call gets dropped, whatever. Mike Leach calls the number back. He says, hey, sorry, I think we got cut off. They continue to talk. The conversation goes on for 2 hours. Anybody want to guess who was on the other end? It was a wrong number. It was a wrong number, and Mike Leach talked to the guy for 2 hours. 2 hours. That's just the type of person that Mike Leach was. I was like, "Why? Who's talking in the private chat?" Gary's in the private chat confirming that it was Heupel. All right, let's get these guys on here. Seth's in the house. Orange Sea Line is here. Joel is in the house. Gary, let's start with Gary. Gary, he's in the bunker. I'm sure he's grinding away, trying to get those XP. He's trying to complete side missions, I'm sure.
No,
Gary,
I'm playing NCAA.
You got any fun Mike Leach stories?
Dude, I will always be a fan of the one that you actually showed in the pre-show with the we got to talk about the mythical powers of the Sun Devil and all that. Like, and the fact that he used the words Harry Potter activists, like those three words together, just it gets me every time.
Seth, what about you? You got what's your favorite Mike Leach story? Interview quotes, just something about Coach Leach.
Really, I just think he was just a funny guy. I mean, I respect the heck out of him, man. Just, I don't have any one particular moment. Just always loved his interviews, every single one of them. Just his charisma, just everything about him. I enjoyed him.
What about you, Joel? Anything sticks out about Coach Leach?
Yeah, Nugs brought up one in the chat that was probably my favorite, the marriage advice. Basically stating whatever you intend to do in your marriage, you better start doing it from day one and establish that you're going to do it or you're never going to do it. And that was great marriage advice.
What do you guys think about him as a coach? Like the air raid offense, putting guys in space, stretching the defense out thin. And I think he was starting to adapt it a little bit more at Mississippi State. I think he was starting to run the football a little bit more. What do you guys think about his offense?
I mean, I think it worked really, really well in the Pac-12 and the Big 12 where just defense doesn't exist. But I think that here in the SEC, like you were saying, like you need to be able to run the ball a bit more. You need to have a little bit more balanced attack, and that's why the evolutions from it, like with Josh Heupel's iterations upon what Mike Leach started, is so effective in the SEC.
Well, I'll add to that. You look at Josh Heupel and look at this season. This team actually trended more as a running team than a throwing team. Everybody thinks, they spread it out all over the place, fling it all over the field, but that's not necessarily the case. It's the spreading of the wide receivers, the stacking, and then that tempo. It's kind of a combination of that. But yeah, I had read something. How Mummy was the coach that came up with that, but and it was at like Iona Wesleyan with Leach as a coordinator, I believe, and Leach was actually working PR as well in addition to an assistant coach, and he's the one that put out the actual name Air Raid Offense so they could brand it, and it kind of caught on, and that is how all of that came to be. But yeah, he kind of took that and ran with it, and he was really successful on the West Coast. Had some guys at Texas Tech put up ridiculous numbers with it. Same thing at Washington. It is one of those things where people can be like, oh, it's gimmicky, it won't work everywhere. But like Gary said, it's something that as it has evolved and coaches have made it their own and put their stamp on it, their twist on it, and got players to fit that, you see success like Josh Heupel's had the past 2 years at Tennessee.
Did you hear what Mike Leach said about Josh Heupel running like a similar offense? They asked him about Heupel's offense, and he said, "Yeah, I recognize some of that stuff. Honestly, I think I see. There's one play that he ran for us. It's the same exact play. It's the same formation." He says the only difference is that quarterback that plays for him ran it a lot better than he did for us. So I thought that was awesome. But rest in peace to a legend, man. I wanted to start the show. It's a fan call-in show, but I wanted to start the show talking about Mike Leach. So that's what we did. But let's open this thing up. Who do I want to give a shot? I'm going to throw it to Joel. I'm going to say, Joel, all the stuff going on right now. The Orange Bowl's right around the corner. You got players opting out. You got recruiting news today. Arian Carter commits. Get us going, man. Joel, what do you want to talk about tonight? Where are we going first? Take me somewhere.
First of all, I updated to Elite today. I didn't join. I've been a member for 2 years and 5 days as of today. And thank you. I want to thank you, Boogie.
I'm right there with you, Joel.
This has been a great channel. I've probably been watching for about 3 years. Got me through the end of the Pruitt years, and I love where Tennessee football is right now, and I love where your channel's going, man. I think the future's bright on Rocky Top. I did watch the video that number 11, that linebacker, who was wearing number 11 I'm sorry, I don't know the name.
Arian Carter, four-star linebacker.
That guy looks like a murderer. I can't wait to see him on the field. He hits so viciously. I was cringing to hits. I mean, I can't wait. Future's bright on Rocky Top. That's my takeaway. And thanks for everything, you guys.
I'm glad you guys enjoy the channel. I try to say, it is a gimmick to say for the fans, by the fans. But when you give the fans a voice and what this has become, what these fan call-in shows have become, and you guys got on me. I don't remember what it was. Was it the Alex Golish night? You're like, we need a fan call-in, Boogie. Stop being lazy. So we set it up. We got it going. Gary, yeah, I saw you put that in the chat where you upgraded. We appreciate you guys, man. The memberships, maybe it's a little bit of shilling. Maybe it's a little bit of shilling, but it's the reality of the situation. I do want to do this full time, and I'm close. I am closer than anybody knows to pulling the trigger and just jumping in with – it's risky, man. It's risky. It's not the football season that concerns me. It's from January to July that concerns me. So if you like what we do, if you're a member, keep that membership updated. Don't let it expire. Keep it going throughout the summer, throughout the winter, because that's how we keep the lights on around here in the offseason. What's up, Coach Jay? How you doing tonight, buddy? You're muted, Coach Jay. What are we? See, I let you guys have a couple of weeks off. When we just go downhill. What's up, Coach Jay?
We got sloppy. Doing good. Doing really good. Happy to see everyone's beautiful shiny faces again. So that's good. Definitely really, really sad news about Coach Leach. A brilliant guy. I know I posted on Twitter. Some of you may have seen. I was lucky enough to do a couple one-day camps with Coach Leach when he was at Washington State over at Cathedral, and they bared a lot of fruit for him. Rennie Bell, Stephen Renard. I think 6 players in total got scholarships out of those camps. So that was great, man. And Coach Leach always had time to teach and to share his expertise. And yeah, I know everyone just kind of brings up his wit and his sense of humor. And I wish I could share some of those stories on here. Some of them might be a little X-rated for the Boogie Bentley show over here, the Talkin VAWLS show. But yeah, just always had a lot of wit. And man, I've seen that guy come over and coach up a long snapper for 20 minutes. And that kind of, I think, might be the thing that can kind of pinpoint what kind of guy he was exactly. I mean, that kid, he wasn't going anywhere. He wasn't doing nothing, but, he still took the time and spent 20 minutes with them, 15, 20 minutes, and really coached him up. So just awesome stuff. And I personally learned, in maybe like a 10-hour period, learned several things I still keep with me and teach on the field. Yeah.
Love it, man. I think that's kind of an ongoing story with Coach Leach. Is it didn't matter who you were. Didn't matter who you were. Didn't matter if you were an equal, a coach, a superior, or just a casual fan, or whoever. Man, that's what I love. He seemed to talk and give everybody time, and that's one of the most important things that you can give somebody is your freaking time, man, because you can't get it back. But let's jump into. Joel was talking about Arian Carter. That was a big win today, boys. That's a big win, and it's not just a big win because it's a position of need. That Arian Carter is a legitimate legitimate line. There's so many reasons why it's important, Dauber. He's a legitimate linebacker, position of need. He's an in-state kid, one of the top kids in Tennessee. And you go head-to-head with Nick Saban, and according to Austin Price, who was posting it on VolQuest, the Alabama coaching staff was trying to beat down the door of the high school to get in there to talk to him. Aaron Carter don't want none of it. He's a Vol, baby. There's no turning back. He bleeds orange from now on.
Man, I know that that's probably normal for big time coaching. Sorry, Dauber, but it just seems so pathetic. Like, so pathetic the way that Austin Price was like describing it. Like, I just imagine him like sitting sadly alone out in the rain this morning, just trying to get a word in, and Aaron Carter just being like, "Nah, I'm good. Sorry." I keep on wanting to say Arian Foster, and I know that's a completely different person.
So, I think the last time that I was on, I talked about how this 2023 class and 2024 class are shaping up, and how the past 2 seasons the weak link has been defense, and to have kind of a heavy focus on defense, that shows you that this coaching staff, that they realize, hey, we're overachieving, we're doing good, and we're getting it on offense, but here's where we need to focus. Because if you look at the guys they're bringing in, the guys that they're going after, I think that heavy emphasis on defense, that shows you that they realize they need to improve on that side of the ball. I think that they'll be fine on offense. We may step back a little bit with Joe Milton at the reins, but another offseason in the program, man, I've got faith in that kid, that this coaching staff can continue to get him to improve. And you look at Hooker, he was cast off at Virginia Tech, that buried in the depth chart there, and gets with this staff, gets in this system, and lights it up for 2 years. So I think if Milton continues the trajectory that we saw this year, yeah, he's still got stuff to work on, but man, if any of these guys were perfect, we'd probably be 13-0 right now in the playoffs, and all that. So what I like is you see improvement, and you see this coaching staff addressing needs with their recruiting and the kids that they're getting. Because
I worry a little bit about timing, because I think 2023, I think it's going to be just a mediocre year. I really do.
Yeah.
And I think this class, like you said, Dauber, this 2023 class is defense heavy. You look at everybody wants to say, "Oh, it's offense because of Nico." Yeah, he's the top recruit on the board rankings wise. But then look after that: David Hobbs, Herring, Bradley. This is a defense. You got
dangerous, man.
But you got legit corners too, Seth. You got legit corners, legit safeties. Now you got a legit linebacker, and that's not disrespecting Jalin Smith and Jeremiah Telander. I think those dudes are good too. But it's hard to expect true freshmen to come in and contribute. But look what Elijah Herring did this year. He worked himself into the 2 deep. He did. He was getting some reps. Joshua Josephs was getting some reps. I think this defense 2 years from now, Seth, is going to be a completely different defense. Completely different.
Hope so.
I mean, 17 people.
I believe
it. 17 people in the class are defense.
Yeah,
17. That's 17 out of 25, right? Sorry, Xavier.
You're good.
Sorry,
Go ahead, X.
Well,
I
but guys, but listen, look, don't this excite you? Because guess what? Our prayers have finally been answered. We've been preaching like we need defense. Well, we're going to see a sneak peek of that going into next year. And I agree with you, Boog. I think it's going to be kind of a little mediocre just to kind of see what the coach staff's working with. But now 2024, though, I think we're going to see a much more improvement, very much more improvement. And I just can't wait, man. But yeah, I mean, it's just our prayers have finally been answered. We're finally building back up our defense the way that it should be looking.
Yeah.
How big of a step back do you think? I'm sorry, Coach Jay.
No, go, please.
I'm just, you're saying next year being kind of mediocre. Are we talking about like our expectations or meaning of mediocre a couple of years ago, or mediocre as of right now while we're up here?
Early for me is 8-4. Go ahead, Dauber.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. And that's, I think overachieving in 2021, ramped up those expectations for this year, and then the start that they've had, getting to 10 wins, New Year's Six Bowl, all of that. The expectations are just through the roof in year two, and you are losing a guy that has ran the offense perfectly for a season and a half. I just think that's the one thing that's been clicking is the offense. I think it's just you're going to see a little bit of step back. And what I don't want is fans to think, oh, well, we won 10 games last year. Why are we only going to win 8 this year? You have to be realistic in the fact that this team has overachieved the last 2 years.
There's going to be a lot of casual fans who say that, I think.
Yeah. They weren't expected to win, 8 games this year.
The hate of Joe Milton. The hate of Joe Milton has already started. It's already started. I mean, I could make a video about Arian Carter, and somebody's in the comments yelling about Joe Milton. I could make a video about Jalin Hyatt opting out, and people are in the chat saying, well, of course he did, because the ball's going to be overthrown every time. And it's like, it's already – I'm telling you that – and I think you guys are right when you say the casual fan. That's probably a little bit more accurate. Let me hit the super chat real quick. John London for 5. Thank you for the super chat. We appreciate it, John. One of the coolest stories is the Lincoln Riley one, and we're talking about Coach Leach here. He told him he couldn't be a player but thought he would make a great or a good coach. I don't think I've heard that story. Thanks for the super chat, John. Appreciate you sharing that. Anybody else has Mike Leach stories they want to drop in the chat? Love to see them. Rest in peace to the coach.
Allegedly, Mike Leach told him, "Look, you're never going to play for me, but you could take this this student assistant position." And he went home mad, and then the next day he came in and accepted the job.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I always feel like the odd years are tougher years for Tennessee in general. I mean, obviously not there's some exceptions, but kind of is more of a rule. They're the more difficult years for us, and I think a small step back is semi-expected by the educated fans. So we should be fine there. But listen, hey, Joe Milton, he's going to have that pressure on him. Look, man, he's got a kid sitting there making $8 million behind him. And he has what should have been someone there in New York, leaving in front of him. And, when you're sandwiched between two guys like that's a tough act for anyone to be in, or a tough place to be in for anyone. But we'll see what he's got, right? He's going to have a real good audition, and I might hold my whole judgment on if this team takes a step back or not. I think it's natural, but I might hold that judgment till after that bowl game and after this transfer portal season ends, with how quick things can change, because you get the right pieces, it can change really quickly, and I'm not one to count Josh Heupel out as an offensive mind too quickly. He's just proven too much over time.
Yeah, I completely agree. I want to throw one thing out about Milton, and we can move on. We'll maybe jump to Trucker Dougie and get his thoughts. Just look at the way Milton stood on the sidelines this year, soaked it all in, watching Hooker. You look at the last home game when Hooker went up to lead the band. Milton standing in the background, soaking it in, dancing, enjoying himself. But he's seen how this offense runs. He's seen how a quarterback can be successful in it. And, you take a look at Jalin Hyatt. The dude gets that motivation, that fire lit under him, goes through an off season, and then just comes out and tears it up. Like I said, I've got faith in Milton. If it's in him to get it done and he puts himself to it, I think he can succeed in this system, because he's got all the talent in the world. It's just putting it together, and like Coach Jay said, being the man. Can he be the man and run this offense efficiently?
Yeah, absolutely.
And just real quick, let me add on to that real quick too. Shout out to Kelly that's watching tonight. You know that comment that Boogie just put up there is that yeah, because he actually works where I work at, and we was actually talking about Milton and going to next season. Is yeah, I mean yeah, I'm not gonna say like oh screw Joe Milton, this is and that, because I'm like you, Dauber. I have faith in Joe Milton. I think he's gonna thrive in this offense going into next year. But he's got until 4 games until Florida comes up, because we're going to play Florida like that third or fourth week, and it's like if he can't put the pieces together, you're looking at Nico maybe coming in right behind him, or Taven Jackson. But I think he's gonna or there you go, the third game. Yeah, I mean you got Florida that third game right there, so he's got to put it together this bowl game, Virginia, Austin Prey. And then we'll see what he's got when Florida comes to town. So
let's throw another question out there, because people in the chat talking about Taven Jackson. And
that's right. That's right. Taven Jackson.
Well, hold on. Well, yes, but look, man, when Taven Jackson committed, that was the guy, right? Because nobody was talking about Nico. It was like, that's Josh Heupel's quarterback. Taven Jackson is going to come in and he's going to be the savior. We're all arguing about Harrison Bailey and Joe Milton and Hendon Hooker, and Taven Jackson's going to come in and be the savior. That's who's going to save the program. And then enter Nico Iamaleava, and everything changes. It's Nico this and Nico that. And it was and I wish I should be prepared, but I'm not prepared, because for the fans, by the fans. I'm not media. I don't freaking prepare. I get on here and talk with my boys. Somebody over at VolQuest, I don't remember if it was Hubs or AP, somebody made the comment, after the spring, one of these quarterbacks is going to be gone. Is that Joe Milton? Is that Taven Jackson? Because you're not making the bank that Nico's making, and that's not happening. Nico's here. Nico's locked in. But my question is if we get through the spring, I think Taven Jackson's a competitor. He's going to try to compete. He's going to try to win that quarterback job. But if Joe Milton is named the starter, and Taven feels like, okay, what Xavier just said, we get to week 3, Joe loses the job, it ain't me, it's Nico that they're going to trot out there. Mm-hmm. Is Taven Jackson going to stick around, or is he going to hit because you're going to see a whole nother wave of guys hit the portal after the spring. A whole new wave of guys are on the way out the door. Book it.
Yeah.
I just don't know that we put that. I don't know that. Like, I feel like we're putting a lot onto Nico, expecting him to be the next Peyton Manning. And I don't think that's fair to him.
He's got spot on. That's spot on, Gary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, reasons to think that, though.
I get that. But I mean, I'm sure there was not as many as 800 or 8 million because inflation and all that good crap in the 90s. But I'm sure there was plenty of reason to believe that Peyton Manning was Peyton Manning back then, because I'm sure we were paying players under the table back then.
Everybody was, right?
Oh, yeah. Not like that, though.
Yeah. Not $8 million. And $8 million is unusual. Like, Josh Pate put out a video just recently talking about it. Stop with everybody that enters the portal is getting bags of cash. That ain't the case. That's why you got guys like Jimmy Holiday, I think it was. I can't remember, one of the Jimmys on Twitter retweeting that he's in the portal. It's like, yeah, bro, you went in a long time ago, but now you're retweeting because there's no interest. Some of these guys are entering the portal and there's no money. There's no money for them. Not everybody's making $8 million. But the quarterback situation at Tennessee next year is going to be interesting. And everybody talking about, you need to add a quarterback in the portal. Coach Jay, that's a hard sell. It's a hard sell to say, why don't you come to Tennessee where we have a guy that's 42 years old that's going to be our starter. We got a 5-star, $8 million kid on the bench. And we got Taven Jackson, who's a pretty dang good quarterback too. Why don't you come in and compete with that? And let me sell you on that. Coach Jay, it ain't happening. You're not adding a quarterback right now.
No, not unless you're having a really honest conversation with Joe after the bowl game. That's the only way I think you're finding someone in the transfer portal. If that transpires, then you can see it. And as far as that secondary competition with Nico and Tavon, I agree. Nico's not going anywhere, and Tavon's going to have to really win that sub competition in the spring if he's going to stay. If he gets the slightest inkling that he's beat out, I know he's got a good heart and all that, but talent can just win out, man. And Nico's got a ton of it. and that can just really show itself. And as far as putting too much on Nico, he's got a lot of great attributes, but one of my favorite about Nico that I've seen anyway is he's just really cool, right? He's got that number one thing you want in a quarterback where he's just here, man. Like he's
even keel.
Flat. Yeah, he's chill. He's nothing really bugs him. When he's panicked in the pocket, he's not panicked. He's just kind of slickly operating around and moving forward. And when he decides he wants to put his head down and hit you, he can do that too. He needs to stop that crap now that he's going to get out of high school, but he certainly will. So yeah, I mean, I hope that he has pressure actually, but he handles the pressure. I think pressure goes hand in hand with being an SEC quarterback, certainly with being a Tennessee quarterback, and it can either make you crumble and turn you into Jarrett Guarantano, or it can make you rise and turn into Peyton Manning if you got the talent. And so let's see what he's got, and that goes for the other two on the list as well.
Yeah. Trucker Doug, you're dying to talk. Let it go, buddy. Let it go.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to eat dinner. I'm at Waffle House, so I got.
What's the order? Well, let's get to the important questions.
Smothered and covered.
I know you want to talk about football. I can tell, but I want to know what your order is first, Trucker Dougie.
Texas bacon patty melt with hash browns.
All right.
How are you getting those hash browns? They chunked, smothered, covered, diced, chopped?
You already know it.
All right, I can tell you were dying to talk. What do you want to talk about, Trucker Dougie?
I just want to add on what Dauber said about Milton. You know, at the end of the last home game, you know, you could definitely tell that I feel like he's ready. I think he's learned. Like I think he's learned how to be patient, and I think he's gonna ball out during the bowl game. And me personally, I'm not a fan of true freshmen starting. I'm just not, because when you give them that type of power that early, they get really, really cocky. Look what happened to Manel. I mean, his career literally, you know, it just went straight to nothing, you know. But that's just me. That's just my opinion. Now, if he honestly beats out Tavon and Milton and he's the right guy, then obviously give him the job. But me personally, I think it should be Milton's job. But it's his to lose it too, you know. Tavon, I like him, but honestly, I don't see him sticking around. I think he's going to be the one to walk away.
I do too.
And I hate that because I personally like him. But unfortunately, this is, you know, it's a business. You know, everybody wants to play and they want to put their name out there. Now, do I think he's still going to be good wherever he goes? I think he's going to do great. But that's just my thoughts. There was another question you guys had asked that I can't remember.
We wanted to know if those hash browns were smothered, covered, chunked, or diced. That's what we wanted to know, Trucker Dougie.
They are cap, chunk, and smothered.
Oh,
And
that's
covered.
what I'm talking about.
Garbage
There's
can.
nothing like Waffle House. Let me hit a couple of super chats real quick. I'm gonna botch this name, Vondea, I think, for 5. Thank you for super chat. I saw you at the inventory sale, Dauber. Great to meet you. Dauber, you signing autographs at the inventory? Look, I appreciate you, Dauber. You text me and you say, "Hey Boogie, there's the inventory sale." You didn't say, "Hey Boogie, I'm going. Do you want anything?"
I thought that was given, man.
No, I thought I was like I can't drive down there.
Dirty.
I was like, I can't drive down there.
Dropped more than I should have.
Well, of
got some
course.
Thank you.
Really, really sweet stuff. I wish I would have gotten in line as soon as I got there for the game balls and jerseys and helmets.
You would sign your own autographs.
But
That's right.
man,
This channel made him famous.
Can you sign one out to me, and I'll buy it?
Here, I know I'm not professional and all that, and
Yeah, you got to use your phone. You don't know how to screen share. It's okay.
So, I did find a little funny gem in the rough. I don't know.
I can't say. Hold on. No, it's not clear. What does it say?
Hold on.
God, you're showing your age so bad, Doc.
Oh
my
no!
goodness.
Oh no! I should kick Dauber off the stream. That's
Throw it
embarrassing.
away.
Dude,
Throw it
That's
away.
embarrassing.
So
That's
now-
actually a pretty good. That's a pretty good buy. That's a pretty
That's
good
super-
buy.
Super funny, man.
Yeah.
It was never worn. It was probably left in his office. All the coaches have a
It
freaking
smells like
closet
bacon.
full of stuff. But I did check the pockets to see if there's any Chick-fil-A or McDonald's bags full of money in there. There weren't. But I thought that was just a funny little gem that kind of just piece of Tennessee history right there.
Awful history.
Awful.
Yeah.
Let me hit these.
Good, bad, ugly. That was bad and ugly.
Let me get through these super chats. Y'all cut me off every time I start to rally through some super chats. We got John London for another 5. Thank you for super chat. If Milton can learn to use something off speed instead of all high heat, we could win at least 10 games. I think we've talked about it. Maybe a fan call-in show. We've talked about it before. If they would utilize the crossing routes, I think that's where Milton really shines. They don't really seem to do that a whole lot, but man, that's where he really shows his arm strength. I think the quick stuff to the outside is going to improve too, because he gets the ball out so dang fast that you're going to be able to kind of extend that outside stuff. Wayne for 5, I would multitask, but Big Vol Daddy has jerk off on tonight. No interest. Yeah, anybody that was unaware. Big Vol Daddy texted me and said, I'm going to have Jackpot on this week. I said, of course you are, because you baited me into coming on. You got me to call people names that I would never say on this channel. I know some of you guys in the chat enjoyed Unfiltered Boogie yelling at people and cussing at people and acting like a lunatic last week over there with Big Vol Daddy. He's got Jackpot on right now. I don't know what they're talking about. I'm sure Jackpot's lying. That's what he does. For the right price, maybe we'll stream snipe him and see what Jackpot's saying. I don't know. Maybe a $200 super chat. We'll see what Jackpot's saying. Other than that, I'm not really interested. Don't really care what he has to say tonight. Let's move things forward. Because a conversation that I want to have with you guys, and the link is out to Talkin Vols Gold and above. So anybody Talkin Vols Gold and above, a member of the channel. If you're not a member, hit the join button down below. Become a member, and you can jump on the show with us. Look at Trucker Dougie. Somebody get hurt? Oh my gosh! Breaking news! What is happening?
Sorry.
Good Samaritan
was trying
Trucker
to-
Dougie.
No, little kid was trying to put a high chair up.
Oh my gosh! I thought somebody fell. No, I want to talk about this because I want your all's opinion. Because today the news came out. Nobody's surprised. Absolutely nobody surprised. Jalin Hyatt opts out of the bowl game. I had the video ready to go. The second the news broke, video goes out. Jalin Hyatt opts out. Jalin Hyatt's going to the NFL. I got no problem going to get that bag, go make that money, go to the NFL. You deserve it, man. You put the work in, you deserve it. Go make that money. What I do have a problem with is opting out, and it's in general, man. I hate it in general. We talk about bowl games not mattering. That's because we've devalued them, and kids no longer want to play in them. You're talking about college football playoffs, and kids are not going to play. They're going to opt out because it's all about the NFL, and it bothers me. And I can speak out of both sides of my mouth because I can be a hypocrite. I can do whatever I want. Y'all can yell at me. Y'all can yell. Hold on. Y'all can yell at me. Because somebody today in the comments of my video said, "What would you do, Boogie?" I'd take the freaking money and run. I'd leave all of y'all. They said, "Hey, Boogie, ESPN's calling." Right in the middle of the stream. We're live. ESPN. I'm out. You offer me a couple $1 million, I'm gone because I'm going to take care of me and my family. And guess what? Y'all can keep doing what you're doing, and it's going to be just fine. And that's the same thing with Jalin Hyatt. Go get that money, but, man, something about finishing what you started. Sorry, Gary, I cut you off.
No, I've been cutting people off all night accidentally, so it's all good. I think that the whole thing with Jackson Smith and Jigba has been blown up out of proportion because, like Tillman, he's been hurt all year. So, like people saying, "Oh, he's opting out of the playoffs." Well, he's been hurt all year. He's probably still not 100%. So, I honestly kind of get that. And when it comes to the other bowl games, we as a fan base have made the bowl games meaningless because we just keep wanting the playoffs to be. We wanted the playoff, and now we want the playoff to be expanded. And the more the playoffs get expanded, the less the bowl games outside of the playoff. And it's just become a thing where and then you've got the portal and all these things, and now because of just the culture all around it, and a lot of it's being driven by money, if it's not a playoff bowl game, it's just a glorified scrimmage.
Right.
Well, I just
like-
think how I sorry if I cut somebody off.
Oh, go ahead.
This is what I got to say about it is that yes, congratulations to the kid. He's definitely gonna go down as a Tennessee legend. I mean, we're all gonna remember
100%.
that Alabama game. We're all gonna remember it. You know, we're gonna talk about it for 10, 20 years. And to me, I was thinking about it today. I feel like the NCAA should establish some kind of rule or something to where it's like, okay, if you want to come play at this school or at this program, you have to finish your season out. And yes, I understand that you're trying to get your draft stock up and all this and that. I mean, that's the reason why that they play football to begin with. I mean, like Boogie said, I get it. Go get that money, but you got to finish the season out, bro. You just have to, including bowl games, or whether if you don't go to a bowl game, just finish the season out. Then when the season ends, in the postseason, and if the NFL comes knocking on your door saying like, "Hey, we scouted you out, we're going to offer you this," what do you say? And then these players should have the option to either come back to the program or just go on to the NFL. But finish the season out, man. That includes bowl games because, like also what Boogie was saying too, we're talking about. Guys, we're about to have 11 wins if we beat Clemson. And that's what we always talked about. It's like, okay, what if we get 11 wins this year? What if we get 11 wins? Listen, I will take 11-2. I mean, yes, I understand that we're not going to the playoffs anymore. That's over. That's done. But still, we get to have 11 wins in year 2. That's impressive. That's very impressive. But, yeah, that's just what I think about the whole thing. It's just I wish that the NCAA would establish some kind of rule. Hey, finish the season out, including your bowl games, then go to the NFL.
Yeah, well, a couple things. A, I'm not going to sit around and hold my breath for the NCAA to really do anything. First of all,
yeah, they're not.
Second, I think everyone's in agreement. Like, no one's mad at Cedric Tillman for not playing, right? He's dealing with injuries. He's dealing with that. But until we create a rule where injuries you're not allowed to fake them to start on the field, then how can you make a rule where they have to play in the bowl game if they're healthy? Because it'd be really easy for Jalin Hyatt to be like, you know what, I tweaked an ankle. I'm sorry, gosh darn it, I wanted to play in that game. But it's a real tough problem. Like, how do you find that incentive? Like, what was Bryce's motivation for even playing this year? Could he raise his draft stock? He just won a Heisman Trophy. What could he have done to make more money than he's about to make?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
Yeah, he's been picked for 2 years as
what was to stop Bryce after Tennessee kicks that ball through the goalpost to go, I'm opting out of this season. Peace. I can't win a shit. I'm out.
See, I said that about Hendon Hooker, and I just keep that thought, Coach, because I don't want you to lose it. People that argue with me, well, you can get hurt, you can blow out a knee. Yeah, it's a violent physical game. You can. So did Hendon Hooker screw up by playing the South Carolina game? Like, when do you pack it in? When is enough enough? Do you quit after 1 loss, 2 losses? Do you quit when you're out of the playoff? Like, what is it? Because we all sit here as fans and go nuts about got to get to 6 wins, right? That's what we did under Jeremy Pruitt. That's what we did when Josh Heupel came in. Got to get to 6 wins. Why? Because we all want a freaking bowl game. And then all of a sudden now, the freaking Music City Bowl we celebrate, but the Orange Bowl's not good enough. So, sorry, Coach J, I got a rant. Continue your train of thought.
No, you're good. It's something I would like to think it ekes anyone old school. I guess we'll have to get Gabe in here maybe and ask his opinion on how the younger generation thinks about it. But it definitely ekes me a lot. Like, I was just kind of always taught that, man, you only get hurt in football when you're not going full speed. And I get there's exceptions to that, right? Like, I had an awesome coach back in the day who would show his players videos of a piece of straw going through a telephone pole during a tornado. And he would use that analogy, like, for not getting injured. And, my old school way of thinking is I'd like to think, hey, if you're worried about getting injured, you're about to get injured no matter what level you're playing at. But it's tough. Like you said, it's a violent game. and it's the not for long league up there. And when you got a chance to get your dollars, you got to go get them. So it's just a complex issue that needs a lot more working through than it's had.
I think NIL will eventually fix it. I think as the collectives get bigger and bigger, they'll start offering insurance policies.
Yeah.
Insurance policies is a good insurance is a good word, because I see these people saying, well, if you don't play, you don't get paid. That is the biggest negative recruiting tool for every other school in the country. Insurance policy, you can sell me on that.
Yeah, I think that if you go through and like if the volunteer club started telling them, well, we'll give you this NIL money, but as part of it is this insurance package, and to be able to receive this, you have to be able to play an EU game that we're eligible for. I could see that being a thing.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Good.
I have a question. So I didn't know that you can sign an NIL deal and then opt out. Like I thought, like if you sign something, because that's what it's basically for. Like
It all
for that
depends
school,
on the
right?
contract.
Well, the NIL deal has nothing to do with the university, and it is not a pay for play. It is not not supposed to be performance based or anything like that.
What you use air quotes for?
Well, because Dauber, I'm right there with you, man. We all know
Because Jimmy Callaway ain't getting money.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And, Jalin Hyatt gets a couple of NIL deals after the Alabama game in which he scored 5 touchdowns, which, as Xavier said, we're all going to remember that. Listen, look at Cedric Tillman and the season he had last year, played his way to a late second round or third round, maybe fourth round, early fourth round projection, decides to come back, gets hurt. I think Cedric Tillman's draft stock dropped from what it would have been last year to this year. Mm-hmm. So it is one of those things. I think just as the school, you sign a letter of intent to play for the school, and they give you a scholarship which covers your education. That is a contract. You should fulfill your contract, and if you opt out of that contract, I think you should be required to back pay for your education at minimum. Because at the end of the day, and I've said it before, the education is why these kids are in school. But
good luck with that, though.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I think that should be part of it, because you are making a commitment to this football program, and you are breaking that commitment. So I could see that being some. And if you're getting ready to go to the NFL,
they don't care.
What's paying $300,000 for your degree make? I mean, it's not going to break the bank when you're getting ready to sign a big NFL contract. So. Sure.
I'm surprised. Gabe was in the chat because Coach Jay mentioned age, and this is what Gabe had to say. He said, I think there's a place for both views. That's where I agree. Like, I'm open to both sides of the argument. I just stick to one side of it for the most part, but he said it should be up to the athlete. In Jalen's scenario, I don't understand why he really chose not to play in the game. Is it fear of injury? That's the only thing that I can think of, is that it's fear of injury, because you're 31 yards away. You are 31 yards away from the single season receiving record. Like, does that mean nothing to you? Like, I would take so much pride in that. I would take so much pride. But then on top of that, man, one last ride to go out with your brothers. Go out with your brothers and compete and try to win that 11th game. And that's what I love about Darnell Wright. Like, Darnell Wright's like, you know what? I've wanted this my entire career. And I'm probably going to the NFL. He's playing in the Senior Bowl. He's probably gone. But it's like, I wanted this my whole career, and now I've got it. Am I just going to turn around and pretend it doesn't matter? Like, I love that Darnell Wright's playing. I love that he's playing in the Orange Bowl. Love it.
Can I I'm about to hop out here. It must be getting cold.
Go eat.
Real quick, about Mike Leach. I don't know if you guys heard the story about when he was at Oklahoma, and he wrote a fake script for the play, Did y'all hear about that?
Yeah, we talked about that at the top of the show. That's an epic story. Epic story.
Yeah, I was reading that last night and I was literally dying laughing.
So funny.
That I just want to say that is that's pretty that sucks about him. That's probably one of my favorite coaches to watch, especially in press conferences.
Sure.
Yep.
By
100%.
there will never be a sense of humor like him, you know. But I am going to hop off here because it's getting cold and it smells really good. So
Take it easy.
y'all have a good night, and if I don't talk to you guys before Christmas, happy holidays.
Happy
Thanks, buddy. Have a
You
good one,
too, man.
Trucker Dougie.
Merry Christmas, man.
I do want to say the plan is next Wednesday we're going to go live to cover early signing day. The Wednesday after that, it's game week. We're going to be going live that Wednesday as well. Game week, we have to do a fan call-in show game week. I don't know what night. We'll do it sometime during that week. But let me do a little plugs. We got 185 people watching live. I appreciate you guys hanging out on this Wednesday for a fan call-in show. Smash the thumbs up. Go check out the merchandise. It's probably too late, but you may get it. You may get it for Christmas. Order yourself something for New Year's Day. Buy a New Year's Day present. I'm making that a thing. A New Year's Day present for somebody special in your life. Go to bonfire.com/store/talkingballs. We would appreciate the support. Somebody's got to buy this. I don't even own a Vols by Fitty shirt. I need to own one, but I don't. But go check it out.
My next one.
I love the design, but for some reason, I think because we dropped it, I don't remember what we dropped it on top of, and I never did order it. Was it the Bama shirt, maybe?
The Bama shirt, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Anyway, bonfire.com/store/talkingballs. We appreciate you guys buying the merch. Some of you guys, Seth, tweeted out pictures of your merch. We appreciate that. Always love to see it. Tag us on Twitter. You can see our Twitter handles in the description below. Tag me, tag Dauber, tag the Talkin VAWLS Network. We appreciate any and all support. The links are also in the description below. All right, enough shills, enough plugs. Let's see. What were we talking about? We're talking about the quarterbacks. You guys want to talk any more about opting out, or you want to move on?
I want to talk about opting out.
Okay, cool.
All right, so someone actually called me out on this the other day because I apparently didn't mention it. Somebody in
Did you opt out,
Talkin VAWLS.
Seth?
I didn't.
Uh-oh. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. In the comment section or on the Facebook group?
No, on the comment section here. It was it's been a few weeks ago. I don't remember when it was, but I think it was you talking about Jalin opting out just to start with, just if he's going to and all that good jazz, right? Okay, and I agreed with you. Finish what you started, because I know this. Whenever I was in high school and we went to state playoffs and all that, are you going to opt out and say, "Oh, I'm not going to play because I got a scholarship and I'm going to the University of Tennessee or I'm going to Alabama"? Are you opting out of that? No, of course not. Your teammates and your coaches, of course, are not going to let you because you're still a kid. So that part bugs me too. But the other side of this, Dauber talking about your scholarships and contracts and all that and what your obligation is to the university. That's what they're paying you to do. What about coaches? Coach Golish, I think, should have stayed and finished coaching the rest of the season and then start off because they're not playing in a bowl game, right? I mean, I don't know. I haven't kept up with South
But
Florida.
he has recruiting that he's responsible for.
That's
the thing. And I saw somebody talking about Mississippi State and the predicament that they're in now with the passing of Coach Leach. How do you hire a coach this late in the game and have them come in and what does that do with them with recruiting? And they were talking about, well, the portal is open. Boogie, do you know dates? I've seen some. I don't know how legit.
I can't remember because used to it was the Wild West. It was just open. Now it's open, close, open, close.
There's certain times, and then you've got the early signing period, and then you have National Signing Day. But all of that happens right, kind of this end of the season bowl period, and all of that. You've kind of got all squished in right here together. Mm-hmm. So it's sort of it complicates things. And I think that the point of the thing I read earlier was talking about, I think that's one of these things that these coaches are going to push for is kind of getting some definition to like signing periods and all of that, because if you are changing teams, if you are making a lateral move or making a move from a coordinator to a head coaching job, it is hard to. You can't do both. That's not realistic because it's 1 foot in, 1 foot out the door, and I don't know.
I think that's the biggest point, though, is Alex Golish immediately went to work, right?
But he said, did you see what he said, though? He waited. He didn't even talk to anybody until the regular season was over.
Yeah, sure. So he fit to me, and I get what Seth's saying because I struggle with that too. Because believe me, Seth, you think you got it? They come at me so aggressive. Well, let me talk about Alex Golish, Boogie, you hypocrite, you son of a. I mean, they throw big words around, and I got to Google them to see what they're talking about. But it's like I get it because Alex Golish didn't finish the job either. But Alex Golish left and immediately started a new job, right? Whereas Jalin Hyatt, are you going to start practicing for the Titans tomorrow? Because Alex Golish is working for USF right now. The second. But I'm torn, man. I'm torn. I can, Seth, you're biting your finger. You're like, I get. I don't know what to think because you're right. Alex Golish should coach the bowl game, but it's impossible. It's never going to happen.
So should Mississippi State be on the phone to Dion right now, offering him a bunch of money?
I saw.
He's not with everybody anyway, so shit.
No, because Colorado's coming. They're coming. They're coming.
Quick question. Tagging onto that, I've heard a lot of people speculating on Dion and how he's going to turn this around real quickly.
Is that Gary? Or is he making fun of somebody?
I'm making fun of somebody.
Yeah.
Is it Robert?
No, not me.
Not Robert.
About how he's going to turn it around real quickly, and I know the Pac-12 and SEC aren't, equal comparison, especially with UCLA and USC leaving. But does anyone see Dion turning Colorado around quicker than Josh Heupel has turned Tennessee around?
No way.
No way.
Not the magnitude. No.
No, I don't. Give him a couple of years, maybe, but I mean, right off the bat, no, I don't see it. Just give him a couple of years.
I mean, we Boogie and me kind of joked about it on Twitter today or yesterday. But I mean, heck, he's offering everybody. I mean, he's going for it. I mean, that's kudos. He's going for it. Everyone that's remaining on, that's not committed to nobody, no letter of intent. He's going for them all. So he might shoot. He might.
But honestly, I would love to see Dion in the SEC though. I felt because
he'll be there eventually.
He's competed at a high level. We all know who Dion is. I would love to see him better in the SEC. But that's just my personal opinion.
I don't, because I seem to think that the next superpower in the SEC to have a job, like the next superpower in the SEC to have a job open, it's going to be Alabama.
And Dion.
But do you guys think Dion?
Affleck.
You guys think Dion gets it? Like, do you think Dion can be the guy? Like, he's got the swag, right? I mean, the young kids, they relate to him. He's got the name factor. Does he have the X's and O's?
You just touched on it. I know everyone's talking about, but there's a difference between doing it at Jackson State, right, and doing it in a conference like the SEC. I mean, they handed Jimbo Fisher all the talent in the world, and he went down in an epic, ball of flames. So, once again, like I was saying, the Pac-12 is a lot different animal, especially moving forward. It's going to be a lot different animal. So we'll see how that translates. He might be able to take this next step, but that step after remains to be seen in my eyes.
Let me hit some super chats real quick. We got some piling up here. Jody Wooten for 2. Thank you for super chat. Expanded playoff will reduce opt-outs. I see that argument, and I don't know what I think about that.
Kids opting out right now.
You've got Ohio State players opting out.
All 4 teams have guys that have opted out.
Yeah, I don't know that fixes it. John London for 10. Thank you for super chat. Josh Pate had the best thing this week. With all the money now paid to the big universities, give the players an expanding salary, stop some of the transfer portal, keeps more here. There's talk, too, about TV contracts, conference contracts. There's all kinds of conversations about money, because money rules everything, right? So college football is changing. Somebody in the chat earlier said the game that we all fell in love with is dead, and it is. And I still love college football. It's the greatest sport on earth. There's nothing I would rather watch. It's changing, and we're going to have to just accept what it becomes. Seth Brooks, for $20, that ain't cheap. To me, it makes every bowl game that is a playoff game pointless. Why even play Vandy in the rain if you're worried about injury? I agree 100%. I wish him the best, but it is irritating. And, Seth Justice, is Seth not in the chat? Where is Seth? Seth, what are you doing? Seth, what are you doing with your life? You're tweeting at me. Your wife was here earlier. You're not here. What are you doing with your life, Seth? Why are you not here? He tweeted at me earlier and basically said, I'll give my all for Tennessee until it doesn't benefit me. That's a T-shirt. We could sell that. And that's what this is. Like I said it earlier, when's enough? Do you quit after the South Carolina loss? Do you quit because it's raining against Vanderbilt? Do you quit after the first loss? Like, when is enough? I agree, Seth, 100% with that super chat there.
No, I agree with that statement. But, I also think that's where NIL might come into play. If you're coming in and playing for us and we're giving you a certain amount of money, that's part of your contract. You're getting paid now.
Remember, it's not the schools giving money; it's independent organizations.
But I think that's the kicker.
Contract.
Yeah, I think Kenny's onto something. You have to play every game unless the medical staff does not clear you. I think that's the wording you need. The medical staff has to. If they don't clear you, then you're fine. But if they clear you, you got to play.
So what's it going to come to?
But what would stop from somebody from the very first play to go out there and I tweaked my ankle and I'm out. So coaches have spent all week, 2 weeks, whatever, getting them ready for a game, and they go out there and lay down on the first play. So I don't really think that's the answer either.
The only team that lays down on the first play is Ole Miss. Now, come on.
Well, yeah. Okay, the second play.
It's going to get to the point.
They did it the second play too.
Yeah.
It's going to get to the point where you have a team that can't field a competitive team because you have so many opt-outs. And I think that's what it's going to take for the NCAA to step in and do something. Otherwise, like Coach Jay said, there's no power until it messes with a game being played. There's little that they could actually do, or I think would do. They have no backbone.
I like this super chat because it challenges some of the stuff that I say and we are saying. Logan for 5, thank you for super chat. Missing a big point here, fellas. Guys opting out is a great problem to have. That means this school is bringing and wins. Here's the thing: you're sending guys to the NFL. That's a good problem to have. It's kind of like Tillman last year. It's like Brew McCoy this year when he came in, and I was saying, is he a one and done guy or does he come back for 2 years? If Brew McCoy had came in and did enough to get to the league, that would have been a good problem to have. You got to replace him. But when you're sending guys to the league regularly, that's how you start winning the Carnell Tate type of recruiting battles.
Well, it's the same thing with Golish leaving to get a head coaching job.
Huge.
And that's a big time for the program. That means the program is trending up. Your players are having success in the program. You're turning them over to play on Sundays. That is every kid's ultimate goal.
See, but my problem.
Go ahead.
But see, my problem is, sorry to cut you off, Kenny. Sorry about that.
Right.
But my problem is just what opting out is like, especially like what Gary just said with the playoffs. Like, yeah, I get it. If somebody's hurt, then sure. He can't play. But listen, and I'm going to go Allen Iverson. Look, we ain't talking about practice. We talking about playoffs. Like, why are you going to opt out when you're in the playoffs? It just doesn't make sense, especially going up against, Georgia, because Ohio State's going up against Georgia. It's like, you need those guys. Like, you need them, because if you're going to replace this wide receiver, running back, or whoever and you haven't really seen them perform well in the season, you more than likely probably going to lose that matchup. But that's just me.
Yep. You're right. The only way that we can really look at now is giving us, a look at what these, less guys that really didn't get this time to play. We get to see more Squirrel White. We get to see, Milton, see what he really has. Let's really see what this team is going to look like for next year. That's the one good thing is they get that extra real game feel, and it's a big game, and that's hard to really represent towards the beginning of the year with newer players or players that don't get that much experience out there the year before. Is how they're going to produce in those big games, and guess what? They get it right here on a bowl game, which they say isn't that big of a deal, but it's still a bowl game, and it's a good bowl game. So let's see what happens. I think it's actually good that all these guys are opting out.
I agree with that, actually. I've been sitting here just listening, and I mean, I'm sitting here talking about the NIL collections and stuff. But at the end of the day, I agree they should just go get their bag. Like there's nothing stopping. There's if they get that high ankle sprain and they're out for the combine, that's causing them to lose millions of dollars right there.
Shows that you have a winning team.
And that gives Squirrel. Squirrel's mainly balled out against the Akrons and the UT Martins and the Kentuckys of the world. And now he's going to get to go and have a chance to ball out against Clemson.
Hey, Gary, I love that you just lumped Kentucky in with UT Martin.
The scores were similar. The scores were similar. Why not?
No. UT Martin scored more, man.
But to follow up with what Gary's saying, and Riggs here in the chat says bowl games are becoming a look-ahead game, and maybe that's the problem. Maybe we have to learn to shift. I just said college football is changing. Maybe we have to learn to adapt, and bowl games are no longer about capping off your season. It's more about next season. And I said that in the video I made today. Look, I'm excited. You don't think I'm excited? Like, everybody could opt out. I would sit down and watch Navy Schuler play quarterback. I don't freaking care. I'm going to be watching. I am going to be watching the Orange Bowl no matter who's out there. But I don't know, it just kind of waters it down, man. Like, the Orange Bowl used to mean something, and now it doesn't mean anything. Now we're talking about a glorified scrimmage.
Yeah, you just don't get you don't get the bragging rights that we used to have back in the day.
I don't know.
That's what the ball's
I
down
work
to.
with a Clemson fan.
But we do need to go down there and shut Dabo up. Dabo doing a lot of talking, though. We need to go down and shut him up.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true too.
I wonder who the the best NFL player is who opted out.
Like current
I
NFL
have no
player?
idea. I would just be curious to know.
Like current NFL player?
Yeah, anyone. Yeah, like who's
Oh,
the
wow.
best one? Is it just a bunch of never had, never wases, or is it just whoever? I have no clue, by the way.
Something good to Google right there.
Yeah, I googled it. I googled it while you guys were talking, and I couldn't find an answer. So.
For the fans, by the fans. We don't prepare for anything around here. We just throw out random questions and spitball.
Right.
It's a beautiful question.
I don't know anything.
I mean, and that's the thing too. Clemson has what two guys that have opted out that are first round. Are they? I think they're predicted first round draft picks. Yep. And hey, full circle again. Like I said earlier, if it was me, if I was Jalin Hyatt, kick rocks, guys. I'm gonna go make mine. I'm gonna go make my money.
Can't blame him.
Would anybody on this panel turn down millions of dollars to play? No, none of us
would. You gotta look out
would.
for your future, man. You gotta look out for your future.
We're talking as pure Tennessee college football fans. That's where we're speaking from. But that's the beauty of this channel, man. That's what we do, right? That's what we do.
Yep. I'll just pay military pay. I'll take anything.
Hey, I'm begging for 99-cent super chats. What are you talking about, Seth?
Hey, $2 to get in, man. $2.
It works on Sunday. It doesn't work really on Wednesday. It doesn't work on Wednesdays. If I told everybody here on Wednesday, hey, you got to give us a $2 super chat to be here, I'd probably get a bunch of middle finger emojis. Yeah. The chat would go from 168 to 32, just like it does on Sunday nights.
That's awesome.
Are we done with opt-outs?
Yes.
I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to talk about Arian Carter? What do you guys want to wrap the show up with?
Here's my thing. I know several shows they've talked about, like making sure that Nico is able to redshirt next year. Well, to me, that's not an issue. If he is clearly the number 2 guy, he's not looking to stay at Tennessee 5 years. If he can get in the game, and play, he needs to be in there every snap and get it. If he's clearly the number 2 guy.
Isn't his NIL contract 3 years?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's 3.
Yeah, it's 3 years.
He's a 5-star quarterback. He's looking to be gone in 3 years.
Yeah.
So these people that hollering, oh, well, no, they need to save his red shirt.
No, they don't need to worry about his red shirt. Just get him in the game.
No,
let him play as
he's
much as he can play, and because he ain't staying 5 years. If he has to stay 5 years, he's not the guy we think he is.
I agree with that.
He'll. I think no matter how successful he is or not successful he is, after a junior year, he's gone.
Yeah, well, redshirt sophomore year, he could be gone. See, so that's why I'm
Right,
saying,
but
why
he's
worry
not.
about that
But,
redshirt? Why worry
yeah,
about it?
I don't think
If he
he'll
can-
be
if he's
redshirted
smooth
though.
enough
He's
to
getting
guy,
paid.
get him in every snap that he can be in.
Right.
Well,
And the fans know that money's at him, or he's got that money, so we want to see him, so they're going to give us too, kind of what we want.
Yeah.
Well, on top of
Best in
that,
the
like,
stands.
well, on top of that too, and then those 3 years, remember, you guys saying you got Texas and Oklahoma come to the SEC. I definitely want to see that Nico versus Arch Manning matchup.
Oh,
that'd be a good one.
I think Arch is going to have a hard time getting on the field for a few years. I think Ewers is going to keep him on the bench.
I don't know. It's tough, man. Like I said, when
I
you have a
think
kid named Manning, it's tough.
I understand, but I think Ewers, he's a real deal. I think he's going to keep him on the bench. If he'd have played the whole Alabama
Ewers
game,
is the real
Texas
deal.
would
That's
have beat
true.
Alabama.
They would have beat Alabama if he
very
played the
true.
whole game.
Very true.
100%.
Yep.
100%.
Yours is definitely a real deal. So I don't know if this was brought up because I was a little late to this, had some family things going on, but my brother-in-law is a huge UF fan. So I got every year I hear the same shit until this year, which was awesome. Of course, it was a rebuilding year, new coach, all that crap. And so he called me today after Devian Hobbs was brought up to that 5-star. And he goes, man, that's kind of weird. He's like, you've got the number 2 recruit and the number 20 recruit, one on the offense, one on the defense. He's like, why the hell is your class still so far behind compared to Florida, which, we had such a terrible year. So throwing that out there, see what everyone else.
How many recruits, how many commits does Florida have, though? Do you know that right off the bat?
21.
There you go. That's why Tennessee just landed their 25th commit, because that's the thing with the class of 23. It's unlimited. You can add as many as you want. And when you look at recruiting rankings, it's not just like a overall. It's not like an average. It just adds up. So you would see early in the year, previously prior to now, guys adding more talent. They could have 8 3-stars, and they would be ranked higher if you only had a couple of 5-stars. So that's probably why. And that's, again, the class of 23. I'm looking right now at 247 Sports. Tennessee is ranked 9th overall.
And it's going to be interesting to see what Florida's. Not that I really care. It's going to be interesting to see who's going to be the quarterback at Florida since Anthony Richardson declared for the draft as well. So
and their number 2 guy got drafted for kiddie porn.
Yep. So they got a 3rd-string guy in there, plus they just picked up 2 quarterbacks for one for 23 and one 24 coming in as well, right?
I think so.
23 just got his 5th star, didn't he?
Tennessee just passed Florida. Florida's ranked 10th according to 247 Sports. Tennessee's ranked 9th.
I think I like.
So we also have 3 more recruits than they do.
We have 25 commits. They have 21. They don't have a 5-star. We've got Nico.
We got 2 5-star, and that's right. They're not even showing Devin Hobbs as a 5-star.
He's not.
That's consensus.
5-star,
Yeah, when you get that close in recruiting, it's going to be about evaluation and development, right? Like between 9 and 10, that's it, right? Like because.
And I think Tennessee did a good job with that. They jumped in there on Tyree Weathersby when he did. I don't even know if he's even rated yet. And same way with Laycock, he was a 3-star, and now look at them, they've both blown up.
Yeah, well,
go ahead.
I can't tell you how many times I've seen guys where a good evaluating college football coach has offered a no-star kid, right? And then as soon as he does it, another respected coach does, and before you know it, they have 2 or 3 stars, and sometimes those stars beget stars even. And it's just about evaluation and not that kind of initial scouting process that rivals in the various places.
You're right. Yep, you're right. I mean, you look at, you go down our list of all the 3-stars we picked up, and you look at their highlight films. I mean, these are legit dudes. I mean, they're not ones that you really typically see as a 3-star. I mean, you look at it like, man, this guy really knows how to move. He's really reading offense. I think that our coaching staff is doing a great job at evaluating. I mean, look what they've done already. You
Yeah,
know, but
absolutely.
that was thrown out to me today, and I was like, what the hell? I didn't even know what to say. So
I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Let's get Noah in here. Noah's trying to talk. Noah's worried about his audio. We can hear you, Noah. What do you got to say, buddy?
I was just making sure. It's good to be here. It's finally good to be on the show. I'm excited for the class of 23. I think we got a lot of good talent coming in, and I agree with you though, Boogie. I think it's going to be a step back from this year, but 2024, it's looking really really good for 2024.
Yeah, I'm excited about the class of 23, man. The more I look at it, and it kind of piggyback on what Kenny said there about you watch the tape, and I don't pretend to be some expert. I don't pretend to be like, hey, I can break down and analyze this film, but I see what I see, and when I see Arian Carter, like just the way he flies to the ball, man, just instincts, football instincts. But then guys like David Hobbs, yeah, and I'm a big fan, man. Of T-Lander and Smith, man. I think they are under. Coach Jay, have you watched their film? I'm going to put Coach Jay on the spot because he's a coach and he has to analyze film.
Which one exactly? Hobbs or
No. Jalin Smith and Jeremiah T-Lander, the two linebackers. They're both 3-star prospects. I don't know if you've watched any film on them.
Yeah, a ton.
I didn't want to put you on. I didn't want to put you on blast. I gave you an out. I lofted you a big softball. I gave you an out.
You're sitting in my film room here most of the time, which is why it's just like a shade and a lamp where I can be weird and dive in and not bug Mrs. J. But I am thrilled with our linebacker evaluations this year, and just to make it real simple for everyone, Nick Saban is just kind of undefeated with his linebacker evaluations, and when he wants someone the way he wanted Arian, that's awesome. And Turlander, it would be probably, I would say, and it's picking hairs. They all look good. Maybe the weakest of those bunch, in my opinion. But, until you really are on the field too and inside their head and listening to what they're thinking, seeing, especially at the high school level, you get high school kids who are just so good. They can do 2-3 people's job on a football field sometime. And I see that a lot with him, and I don't know if he's just trying to do too much or if he's just filling in for a lack of talent in other places. But once you get into the SEC, you need to do your job and your job alone extremely well. So it's kind of hard to hone in with Jeremiah on that. But they've got a good quick step. They don't have a lot of false steps. They're fast to the ball. They have good tackling technique. They're ass down, head up, wrap up, pat on a ball. They're smart for the most part that I can see. Like I said, sometimes trying to do a little much and cover too much. But like I said, the two kids that impress me more are Arian that we got today and Smith. They look like they got it. They look like they flat out got it and can pick it up quickly. I'm high on some of those young kids, once again, just circling back that we had last year. We'll see how quick they can develop. It's hard to develop quickly on defense in the SEC. Think of the people who have guys, Derek Barnett, Eric Berry. Perkins over at LSU. We're talking about really generational people who can step in the SEC and meet the physical demands and, more importantly, the mental demands of not only how to line up and play football, but how to be leaders out there. And whether you're a linebacker or not, especially with linebacker, you need to be a leader. But really at that level, we need leadership at every level, right? You're basically like a Navy SEAL. You need leadership at every level. And if you don't have that, you're going to have holes in your defense that look like Slaughter playing cornerback type holes if you can't line up and you can't play intelligently. It's that simple. So as far as the evaluations go, they look great with those kids. I'm still meaning to put together maybe a film breakdown of a couple plays of each kid, maybe send it your way, Boogie, and see what you can do with it.
Hey, you want to break down some film and send it my way and upload it? I'm down, man. I will 100%. 100% we can do that. We can do that.
Absolutely. Yep, definitely.
Let me hit a couple of super chats real quick. We got John London for another 5. Thank you for super chat. Agents are a huge issue. They get in these young men's ears because if they get hurt, it messes with their bottom line. Without that, I think more play. Talking about millions of dollars, but you're not wrong, John. You're not wrong. Dalton York for 5. Thank you for super chat. Y'all know he quit Jackson State because not a lot of people down there said that Coach Prime wasn't in line with their Christian values. Right? I don't know, man. I don't pretend to have any idea what's going on down at Jackson State. What I do know is that Colorado is a huge bump in status for Coach Prime, and I think Colorado's a good test for him. Like, can you go out there and succeed? And we were talking earlier about, can he succeed in the SEC? I don't know if he can or not, but I think Colorado's a good step to see if he can get there. I don't think that Deion's got the X's and O's. I just don't. I think he's got the it factor, the wow factor. That's why I put the tweet out. And let me just say this: so many people copied that tweet after I did it. I saw it all over Twitter. I'm like, oh, well, that's interesting. 10 hours ago, mine was 12 hours ago. Oh, 9 hours ago, 6 hours ago, 5 hours ago, after I put it up. But that's why Deion's all over the offer, because it's about Deion. It's not about Colorado. It's not about the kid. It's about Deion. And, he's got that swag. He's got that it factor. Can he do it in the SEC? I don't know.
Well, like what Leah said earlier in the comments, she was talking about, like, what if Saban is out the door and Deion takes over Bama? What's that say now?
I don't know. I don't know if he's ready for that.
He's got some
commercial. No, but I think he's one of the only
That'd be
people
good for the SEC West because Alabama, I don't think would be very good.
I would love to see it. Like I said, I never said that he would fail. He would succeed. That'd be interesting to see. It really.
I don't know when Texas and Oklahoma come in. I mean, they'd probably be in the West. Alabama and Auburn might come over to the East in that case.
Man, wouldn't that be something?
That'd be great. Georgia and Bama play every year.
Yep.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. What you guys? What do we think of the bottom of the barrel in the SEC with these new teams coming in? You think they eventually leave because of it? You think they hang around for a long time? What do we forecast for your Vanderbilts and Missouris and Kentucky?
I'm surprised Vandy's not.
I think they stay.
I was about to say, don't stay South Carolina. I was waiting.
I think they stay. I mean, they've already been here so long.
Yeah.
I'll say this: Vandy needs to go on somewhere and put in App State.
The MAC conference put Vandy.
I mean, imagine if Vandy and App State swapped.
So true.
Vandy would probably win the Sun Belt? They'd probably win it.
Yeah.
They would win 8 games a year.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt's a founding member of the SEC, and
They're not running away.
I hear you.
But who wins head-to-head, App State or Vanderbilt?
App State.
App State. That was unanimous.
So there you go.
Is that even close?
And
Vandy can't go anywhere, man. We need a baby brother. You know,
I'm gonna go get my App State helmet over. I got my App State hat on. I'm gonna go get my helmet.
I like Happy State. I don't want them in the SEC because I don't want to have to root against them.
What's funny is a buddy of mine that I get together with once a month, every couple months. We go have a couple of beers together, eat lunch together, and he is basically a booster for ETSU. Like, he loves ETSU, and he tuned in the day after I got that App State helmet, and I'm like, look at this helmet, it's gorgeous, it's matte black. And we went and had lunch that week, and he's like, you son of a bitch.
And you said
Sorry,
that's a
man.
Nice, town, Boogie. Boone,
Yeah.
North Carolina.
Yeah, love it, man. Have you ever been over there?
Never been out that way.
You got to go, man. You got to go.
I went to Knoxville for my first time this year, and I fell in love with it. Told my parents, I don't want to leave here. This is too much fun.
Heck yeah, man.
There you go.
I love Knoxville for football. I love Boone for everything else.
I love Knoxville.
Boone's a better
I was
town.
actually at the same game Dauber was. He was up in the skybox for the Missouri game, but I was at that game as well. Super fun game.
Oh, really?
Dauber up there pretending to be rich.
I'm up there staying warm.
I was out
warm and dry.
I told Dauber, I was like, hey man, you was at that game too, and he was like, yeah, I was in the skybox, you know.
That was a
warm.
loud
I'm
game.
not- It was loud.
That was a
Yeah,
loud
me and
game.
my girlfriend went there. I had a good time.
Well, you want to talk about getting wet, though? I went to that Vanderbilt game.
Oh my god.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Missouri game was miserable too. That was a rough
At
one.
least it stopped raining.
At least they
when the game
won.
stopped.
How was the wind at that game, Gary? How was the wind at that Vanderbilt game?
It was at times very gusty,
Mm-hmm.
and I will say the one perfect ball that that Milton didn't overthrow was throwing against the wind.
Yep.
We're making excuses, Coach Jay.
No,
Coach Jay,
no.
we're making.
That's why that question was thrown out there.
Yeah, no. Let me just clarify.
I think he was asking if Ohio State could have played in that weather.
Yeah, well.
Okay.
I've heard people make a lot of excuses, so I was curious about it. Yeah, no, absolutely curious about it. But listen, Joe's got a strong arm. He's even in a perfect scenario going to make a couple overthrows in a game. He'll be judged on if he can improve those percentages and if he can win football games, not if he has an overthrow or 2 or 3 in a game.
Right. I mean, he can have overthrow. I mean, anyone who plays golf, everyone knows you play golf on a windy day. What's going to happen? That ball, you cannot direct it. And, you know, if you're an average golfer,
I can't direct it if it's not windy.
You know, I mean,
I'll just see me at Top Golf on
that's what I
Sunday.
do for a living, and I'm just like, there's just no way. I mean, when you got wind going, you get screwed. You know, and it's just, you can't pinpoint where that ball is actually going to go. You're aiming for a 30-yard circle. You know, I mean, that's where you're aiming for your landing zone. So, you know, if Milton can drop that ball on a windy day within 5 feet of that receiver on a windy day like that, to me, that's pretty damn good.
It's
that's
not
talent.
the overthrows. It's being able to hit a wide open receiver. I think that's the biggest complaint with
Yeah.
Milton, because he's
Need to calm down.
missed guys that are open. Because every quarterback's going to have overthrows.
Sure,
that's part of it.
Yeah.
Yep. You know, that's what Milton said. What his overthrows, what his problems was that he would get too excited. You know, that his nerves would get to him on those big open throws. So, you know, he used Hooker a lot to help try and calm him down on those types of throws. You know, because that's if he can calm him down, he's going to be phenomenal. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Noah, get me a Red Bull and extends, but I'll have a hell of a time.
Yeah, man. You need some BT.
Oh, good Lord, have mercy, Seth.
I'm so sorry.
I've not laughed this hard in a long time on this show. That was beautiful. That was a beautiful thing.
NIL deal.
Yeah, get somebody hook Seth up with some NIL cash. God bless America.
Mercy.
It's about time to wrap the show up. It's been a blast. Next Wednesday, don't forget we're going to cover early signing day. I don't expect a lot. We're getting Gabe on here. Gabe's a recruiting guru. I'm going to yell at JP. I've not talked to him yet. Dauber will be on here, I think. I don't know if Dauber will be on here. I'm speaking for him. I'll be here. We'll talk about early signing day. We'll see what happens. And if there are no surprises, no shock factor, guess what? We'll still break down this class, kind of get into it. It'll be a good time. The Wednesday after that, it's bowl game. It is bowl game. So that week, again, don't forget, we'll put together a fan call-in show, whether it's Monday night, Tuesday night, we'll figure it out. We'll make it happen. The bowl game, we'll do a tailgate show. We'll be live immediately after. Ton of content. We're going to keep covering the transfer portal, recruiting. I don't really want to cover basketball, but maybe we'll do it. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But if you're a member of this channel, we love you guys. You guys keep the lights on. I say that. It's kind of a joke, but it's the reality. When we get to January, it gets rough, man. It gets rough to keep. If I'm gauging, man, I'm so close to saying, screw it. This is what I want to do. And doing this full time. Memberships are the key. So if you're a member of the channel, don't let it expire. Ride with us. Ride with us from January through July. and then we're going to provide a ton of content throughout the football season. I'm excited to see what we're going to do. Hey, January, I put it out on Twitter last night. I've not even told Dauber this, but I'm going to tell him right now, live on air. January, we're going to do a season recap. We're going to, after the bowl games are over, after the national championship's over, after it's all said and done, we're going to do a live stream, and we're going to break down the whole season, and we're going to hang out. Eric Kane, Ben McKee have both signed up. The guys from A to Z Sports have signed up. We may have some more special guests. Stay tuned. We'll see what happens. Every single super chat, all of the ad revenue is going to a charity. We got to talk and decide what charity it's going to, but I want to do something for charity, so we're going to do that in January. Stay tuned for that. But I think we're going to wrap it up. For Dauber, for the X Factor, for Seth, for Gary in his bunker. What is it? 3rd and 1? You going for it? 3rd and 1. Gary's going for it on 3rd and 1. It's I would run the football, Gary, if I was you. For Robert, for Noah, for Kenny, for Coach Jay, for Joel, my name is Boogie Bentley. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. Go Big Orange.
That we call